Hey, retreat leaders, welcome to another Throwback Thursday episode. I love to pull these conversations from the archives that's just as relevant today as it was when we first recorded it, and this one absolutely fits that description. This episode originally aired in February 2025, and it's a conversation with one of my favorite people in the retreat industry, Erin Haag. That's why I'm bringing it back. Even after hosting over 100 retreats, owning a retreat venue, and working with retreat leaders around the world, pricing remains one of the biggest challenges I see in this industry. Not marketing, not social media, not websites, but pricing. So many retreat leaders are underpricing their retreats, working incredibly hard, taking on all the risk, delivering transformational experiences, and then wondering why they are exhausted, frustrating, and barely making any money, if any money. In this conversation, Erin and I dive deep into the difference between price shoppers and value shoppers, why pricing impacts who you attract, and why charging more is often about serving better and not just making more. We also talk about something that I think is really essential, the tendency for many women to undervalue their expertise and experiences, while others in the market confidently charge significantly more for similar offerings. Whether you're pricing your first retreat or your 50th retreat, there are valuable lessons in this episode. Because listen, at the end of the day, a retreat is not a vacation. It's an experience that changes you. And if you don't believe in the value of what you're offering, it's going to be very difficult for anyone else to as well. Enjoy this Throwback Thursday conversation with my friend Erin.
Welcome to the Retreat Leaders Podcast, your sanctuary with retreat experts, where we spill the tea on retreat success. Here we dive into crafting transformational guest experiences, talk about how to avoid pitfalls, and unlock marketing secrets. Whether you're a seasoned guru or a budding enthusiast, we've got the inside scoop for you. Join us as we learn how to flourish in this magical world of retreats.
Hey guys, welcome to the Retreat Leaders Podcast. This is Shannon, and I have got a special guest for the second time because her and I really see eye to eye on a topic that is so near and dear to my heart. And it's really cool, y'all, because we see eye to eye even though our pricing is different, but we totally agree on the topic. So welcome back, Erin Haag, to the show.
Hi, thanks for having me.
I'm so excited you're here. So Erin and I have been talking in DMs and just in conversation about pricing strategies for retreats. And one of the things that I was talking to her about was the fact that people really get caught up in their heads when it comes to what they should price their retreat at. And honestly, Erin, what really frustrates me is when people are like, well, I just want to do it for fun, or I just want to do it and not charge an arm and a leg, or whatever the bullshit story is that they're telling themselves. And maybe it's coming from a good place. I don't want to say everybody comes from this BS, but it is such a disservice to themselves and to the guests and to everybody else in the industry. And we are falling short on how we should price our retreats. But specifically, Erin, I'd love for you to share why pricing your retreats at a higher number that includes higher value is so much easier to sell and a better way to approach.
Yes. Oh my God. There's so much to unpack here. You and I are definitely aligned in this. And obviously, retreats and the retreat industry is a business. And I've said this in my previous episode with you that by the very nature of having a business, it means that you have to have a profit. Otherwise, you're running a non-profit. And that's beautiful and lovely. And if that's what you want to do, that's great. But this is an industry and this is a business. And so we do need to, as retreat professionals, earn money and be profitable in order to really fully support our attendees. And so may I share the Facebook debate that went down that sparked this?
Yes, please share, because listen, I have seen this, Erin, what you're about to share. I've actually seen this time and time again. And usually I just scroll on and I'm like, that person has obviously very, very big limiting beliefs and blocks and money blocks and value blocks and all kinds of stuff. But please share.
Okay, so an anonymous poster in a Facebook group today posted that they have increased the rates on their retreats. They are now charging $6,000 per retreat. And they were asking for advice and tips from seasoned retreat hosts in this ballpark, in this price range. On one, how do you get past the nerves and the feeling of anxiety when you first increase your rates on the retreats, and advice for selling retreats out at a higher price point. And I was just like, yay, I love this person. I don't know who they are. They're anonymous, but congratulations, bravo, like standing ovation. And I wanted to provide, encouragement. And I just went in there and I said, what I really, truly believe and know to be true is that higher priced retreats are easier to sell than lower priced retreats. They just are. And I went into explaining why. And that's because the price of any service out there dictates the type of buyer. So there is a Tiffany's buyer who is very specific. And then there is a Claire's buyer. Okay. So a Tiffany's buyer is walking in and they're purchasing a fine piece of jewelry, and they are not making a purchasing decision based on the price of the piece. They're doing it based on the cut, the style, how it makes them feel, how classic it is, how long, the quality, the value, all of the things. A Claire shopper, and I know because my kids are Claire shoppers and that store drives me nuts, are going in there because they can buy 3, get 3 free. And they're making their decision not based on the quality. It's all junk, but they're doing it because they can get 6 pieces of jewelry, for 50% off. So it's true in the retreat space. When you sell a higher priced retreat, you are targeting a value-based buyer versus lower ticket retreats are attracting a price shopper.
Yep, absolutely.
Hey guys, it's Shannon. If you've been dreaming about hosting retreats or taking your existing retreats to the next level, let's make it happen together. Join me August 22nd through 24th for an unforgettable retreat leader mastermind experience. It's going to be located on my ranch in the beautiful Texas Hill Country. Here's what you'll get when you hang out with me and an amazing group of like-minded leaders. Learn my top strategies for marketing, business operations, and selling out your retreats. Connect with other passionate retreat leaders in a high-vibe, supportive circle. Recharge, relax, refresh, and soak up all the inspiration our ranch and our staff have to offer because you deserve it. This isn't just another workshop. It's a chance to step fully into your role as a heart-centered leader while building a business that thrives. I'll be right there with you, sharing everything I've learned from the years of hosting retreats and running my own venue. Spots are super limited, so grab yours now at profitwithpurposemastermind.com. Let's create retreats that transform lives, starting with yours. That's profitwithpurposemastermind.com. I can't wait to see you there.
One of the things that we talked about before we hit record, which really resonated with me, because the other thing that I see in these groups is the whole, oh my gosh, girl, it's the victim whining. The economy is making my retreats not sell. Talk to me about why that is not even applicable when it comes to high price retreats.
Yeah, absolutely. So if you are offering low ticket retreats, and in my world with my clients, anything priced at or below $5,000 is considered a lower priced retreat. That type of purchaser is a price shopper, and they are personally affected on a daily basis to the ebbs and flows of the economy. So if the price of eggs is high, they have less of a budget to purchase a retreat. When you are offering higher ticket, higher priced retreats, and you're targeting a value priced purchaser, those people are not affected on a daily basis by the economy or by the cost of eggs. If the cost of eggs are up, okay, I'm still going to pay $10,000 for your retreat.
Yeah, yeah. See, this is what I love so much, where people really get caught up in, well, they just can't afford it. Oh no, there's people who can afford it. There's people who can afford $50,000 retreats. Like, it's all about the mindset. And then of course it is about the value, because I do want to say, Erin, one thing that I do think needs to match up, and please challenge me if I'm wrong, is if you are charging $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 for a retreat, your value does need to match it. You're not going to do that, and then you're going to sleep in a tent on a sleeping bag.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, I charge over $10,000 for a retreat because my retreats cost me a lot. And they cost me a lot because we're staying in a 13th century castle. I fly in a private chef. I fly in a photographer. The experiences that I bring in local performers, like the experiences are over the top 5-star luxury. So of course the price tag matches. I can't, sell you a $10,000 retreat and then take you to a 3-star hotel.
Right. Yeah, exactly. But that still matches up though, that yes, we're going to charge more, we're spending more, we're providing more, but you still can make more profit. Because the other thing that happens, I think, Erin, is people go, okay, fine, I'll do all these luxury things and I can do a $10,000 retreat, but then they're still only making like $3,000 or barely.
No.
Talk to us about that.
Okay. So again, in my world of luxury and business retreats, that's my consulting company for retreat pros, we bake in a minimum $25,000 profit per retreat, minimum. Ideally, we're aiming for a 50% profit margin. And of course, if you're spending $50,000 to host the retreat, then the 50% margin is a $50,000 profit. So the more expensive my retreats are to host, the higher my profit margin is.
Oh my gosh, I love this so much. One of the things that people still struggle with though is that whole, and I just feel like it's just a money block. It's a belief about their own value. It's all kinds of things. But one of the things I tell folks who struggle with this, that even if you somehow can wrap your mind around that you are worth this money, but you still struggle with it, then give it away. Make as much money as you can and hire someone and employ more people and put the money back out into the economy or the community or whatever. Offer more scholarships, do whatever you want with it, but don't shortchange yourself or the industry or your guests by not putting in the profit you deserve.
Exactly. It's a business. And anytime that you are out there not pricing your services for profitability, you are hurting the other businesses in the industry. And you're conditioning buyers to think that, oh, retreats do cost this amount. So I look at these retreats being advertised all the time at like $2,500 for a 10-day. And I'm like, that retreat host is not making any money. And then how are they investing all of this time, energy, and money into hosting this retreat and not paying themselves? Like, how are they making money? And so maybe some people are doing it as a hobby, but for those of us who are in the industry, this is how we earn an income. This is how we support our families. This is how we're able to give back to our communities. And I strongly believe that women, especially, we need to put as much cash in the pockets of women as possible, because when women make money, our communities are better for it because we reinvest back into our communities at like 90% more than men do. Yeah. And in an industry that is, I would say, female dominated, it's really, really important that we as retreat professionals shift our mindset around, we can, yes, have an impact on our clients and our attendees. That's our goal. But the income can also match the impact that we provide.
Shannon here, cutting in. If you've been listening to this podcast for a while, then you already know something about me. I do not believe retreats should just break even. And I definitely don't believe you should be pouring your heart, energy, time, and money into experiences that leave you exhausted and underpaid. That's exactly why I created the Retreat Leader Mastermind, happening this August at my ranch in Austin. This is for retreat leaders who are done guessing, done underpricing, done trying to piece together random strategies from Instagram. At this mastermind, we will work on the real stuff: marketing, visibility, profitability, pricing, sales, AI and SEO, operations, scaling, and building a retreat business that actually supports your life. And if you've heard me say it over and over again, one of the biggest parts of growth is getting yourself in the right room. Because when you surround yourself with retreat leaders who are taking this seriously, your standards change fast. Now, if you know me, you also know I basically never discount my programs, like ever. But because you're a podcast listener, I wanted to do something special. you can get $250 off the Retreat Leader Mastermind with the code PODCAST. Again, that's code PODCAST for $250 off. You can grab the details at profitwithpurposemastermind.com or click the link in our notes. All right, let's get back to the episode.
Yeah, I'm a big believer, and I just said this on someone else's podcast when they interviewed me, is you're not selling the thing. You're not even selling, as you mentioned, all the beautiful luxury things necessarily. You're selling the experience, the transformation on the other end, which truly is priceless. Anyone can book a room in a castle and have a delicious meal or whatever. You're providing the entire experience. You're there to manage the details, you and your team. You've got all these different little intricacies that you're not going to get on your own when you're traveling, you're experiencing these workshops, et cetera, and so forth. That's all priceless on the other end. And here's what's really interesting. I've said this before on my show, but now being a venue owner, we've been open for 3 years, and I've had, just like you said, primarily, I'd say 90% of our bookings for retreats are women. But the other 10-ish% that men book, can I just tell you that they price at a much higher rate? And if I looked value for value, their value is not higher on paper. I don't know what actually happens necessarily all the time, but value for value on paper is not higher, but their numbers are so much higher. I know their profits because they talk to me about them. Their profits are way, way higher, and they don't blink a fucking eye about it.
No,
like they don't blink
don't.
an eye. It's the
true.
women that struggle with it.
It's true. Well, we've been conditioned as women to believe that, one, talking about money, conversations around money, it's taboo, it's tacky,
evil. You hear it all the time. It's evil, which is ridiculous.
It definitely is. It drives me nuts.
Hey, it's Shannon here. I'm just popping in really quickly to ask a big favor. Would you pause the show and go review it for us? Please. Reviews really help us to be able to get more guests and more experts on the show to help you transform your retreats. So if you wouldn't mind pausing and leaving us a review, that would mean everything. And if you're not already subscribed, do that too.
It's so frustrating as I watch it as a venue owner, and I don't offer pricing strategy coaching necessarily for people. If they ask me, hey, what do you think about this pricing? I really start to dig into why they're even asking that, to be honest with you. It's kind of like, okay, where's this coming from? Why are you doubting it? Why are you pricing it at this rate? What's holding you back, et cetera, and so forth. But I have seen some things come through where I feel like, oh my gosh, I feel like I need to tell you that this is way too low. And I will try to do that. But people get really stuck, just like you said, in the whole mindset of, oh gosh, I don't know if I should charge that much or whatever. And it really does come down to a limiting belief about themselves, period. So knowing that we're talking about this, what could you tell someone that has been pricing low retreats, but do truly have a higher value? How can they make that switch? What are some practical things they could do to make that switch?
Yeah. So I think, looking at your past record with hosting retreats and like really looking at the numbers and data, I am a math person. I created a pricing strategy called Pricing Overhaul. It's all based on numbers and math. And what I love about the numbers and math is they're not emotional. They are what they are. 2 + 2 will always be 4. So you can't argue with it. So when you make decisions based on the numbers, that is helpful. So if you look back in your history and you're thinking, okay, I have planned 6 retreats, but I had to cancel 3 of them because I didn't have enough signups. What was the price point of those retreats? And when you look at it, those retreats that typically don't make, have to be canceled, have to be postponed, don't sell out, are typically those retreats that are lower priced. And that's because you are never going to sell out your retreat when there are other retreats of similar nature and value at lower price points than you. It's like a race to the bottom. So do the math. Do the math and look first at what percentage of my retreats are actually going live, are actually happening. And of those retreats, how many of them am I actually making money off of? And how much money did I make? And how much time and effort did it take me to host that? What were my hours worked? And if you only made $1,000, but you worked 100 hours, you got paid $10 an hour. You would never accept a job anywhere for $10 an hour. So do the math first, I would say, is the easiest way from like a non-emotional place to help you change the way in which you think about the price of your retreats.
I love this. And here's what I think people will find is if they do the math on the amount of time to prepare for the retreat and the amount of time that they work on the retreat, the post-retreat, pre-retreat, all of those things, that number, but then also the years of experience or education and all of the other things that are just, leads you up to that point. Right. That's when you're looking at it going, $10 an hour, my ass, that ends up being like 50 cents an hour, or whatever, you can look at it. And so,
well, and that's where you helped me remember what I was going to say before, where lower price retreats, I think a lot of times people forget to bake in the cost and the value of the transformation. And a retreat is not a trip or vacation. It is not just an experience with you, the host, and other attendees, but there is a transformation or a promise that has been made that these attendees are walking away as different people or transformed, okay? Whereas like with a trip, you just go on a trip or you go on a vacation. And when you underprice your retreats, this was actually proven, my point was proven in this Facebook debate where somebody tried to disagree with me about I'm not a price shopper, but then went in to say I purchase retreats based on value, but then continued to say, but I only will spend 1,000 to 2,500 euros on a retreat. And I saw a retreat that was priced at 3,000 euros. But when I calculated the cost of how much it would cost me to do that trip on my own, it wasn't worth spending an extra 2,400 euros on someone else's retreat.
Did they
and then
not just say your exact what you said?
Exactly. And then she goes into, and when I was looking for a different type of retreat, I found one for only 800 euros in Montenegro. And I was like, you literally just agreed with me and proved my point that you are a price shopper, and price shoppers are going to nitpick and analyze every little aspect of your retreat. And they're going to be like, well, why would I spend $2,500 or $3,000 with you when I could do that on my own for less? And so they're going to go find a similar retreat that is priced less. And it's because they're forgetting that it is a retreat with a transformation. It's not just a trip or a vacation that anyone can take. And I believe that with higher priced retreats, that value and that transformation and that unique retreat experience is assumed because the price point is higher.
Yes, 100%. 100%.
Hey guys, I'm popping in to ask a quick question. Are you ready to elevate your marketing game and fill those retreat slots faster than ever? Of course you are. That's why you're here. And we've got the toolkit for you, our top 5 marketing tools for retreat leaders guide. This isn't just a guide. It's your marketing guru wrapped up in one easy-to-follow package. Dive into the essentials of social media marketing, where we show you how to leverage those platforms to create a community buzzing with excitement for your retreats. Also, unleash the power of content marketing with strategies that educate and engage your potential guests. Plus, we'll dive into email marketing, SEO, and partnership opportunities that open new doors and bring in streams of attendees. So why wait to make your retreats the talk of the town? Download your free guide today by visiting retreatmarketingtools.com and start transforming your retreat dreams into reality.
Okay, so if someone wants to figure this out and get to this point that you're talking about, where they are marketing to a demographic that is focused on value versus price and also have the value to offer, can they work with you directly? Like, how does this work?
Yeah, I actually have a free resource. It's probably the first introduction to my world. And then from there are a ton of different options. But I have a free guide that your listeners can download. It's with my top 5 tips for hosting profitable retreats. And once they download that guide, if they resonate with the things I have to say, then they can enter into my world. And there are all kinds of different ways to work with me.
I love it. I'm going to have it in the show notes, but do you know, or can you shoot off that website or link they can go to get that free guide?
Yeah, absolutely. They can go to luxuryinbusinessretreats.com. And if it's their first time visiting my site or their first time visiting my site in a while, a pop-up will appear where they can enter in their name and email address to download that free guide.
Perfect. That is awesome. Thank you so much, Erin. I really wanted to get this message out today, and I couldn't think of a better person than you to share this message, because I have seen this industry grow and change in such beautiful ways and such brutal ways in the last probably especially 5 to 6 years as the industry grew rapidly during COVID, which I'm super happy for. But also a lot of people are coming in and muddying the waters a little bit. And I feel like with just the right amount of guidance and belief in themselves, they could really get to a place where not only are they making a profit, but they are helping the fellow community members in this space. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening to the Retreat Leaders Podcast. Learn more at www.theretreatranch.com. See you next time.